there's also deep hurts, deep wounds that make it very, very difficult for us to embrace our bodiliness. Here are a few that come to mind. This is what makes it difficult to embrace our bodiliness: sickness and suffering. It was never meant to be. It was never meant to be. My sister Emily, whom I love dearly, who's 4 years younger than I am, she's dying of cancer. It's never meant to be. It's horrific. It's never meant to be. That can make us hate our bodiliness because it causes us to suffer. It reminds us that we're dying. Aging. All these gray hairs I'm getting, all these age spots and wrinkles on my face that I didn't used to have. You know what this is a reminder of? Every gray hair, every wrinkle, every age spot is a reminder that I am headed towards death. This is not a happy thought. Death was never meant to be. We're all on a conveyor belt. Did you know that? And we're all going to fall off. That is not a happy thought. That can cause us to hate our bodiliness. Lies we've been told. Lies that create this fear and the shame of all surrounding being rejected. If you don't look like this, you're not beautiful. If you don't look like this, you're not lovable. Who has been unscathed by the incessant lies of a media culture that will prize and idolize bodies idealized and hyper-eroticized, but criticize and despise any shape and size it cannot commoditize? We need new eyes if we are to realize that the true value of the body lies not in being objectivized, standardized, and commercialized, but in being personalized, baptized, divinized. And this is what the theology of the body supplies. Come and become one who sees, Jesus says. Right after he says, "What do you want?" the second words on the mouth of Jesus in the Gospel of John, usually translated, "Come and see." I learned from Benedict XVI, better translation, "Come and become one who sees." Come and become one who sees. All the dysfunction in our relationships, all of it, is because we don't know who we are. It's because we don't see one another. We don't see ourselves, and we don't see the other. Lord, open my eyes, open my eyes. 2D. Listen to this from the Catechism. I call it the Ode to the Flesh. This is our faith. This is our faith. The flesh is the hinge of damnation. I'm sorry, what does your catechism say? The flesh is the hinge of salvation. We are saved by His body and His blood. Nothing else saves us. We are saved by His body and His blood. Ours is an enfleshed religion. It's the Antichrist who wants to unflesh our religion. The flesh is the hinge of salvation. Well, what about St. Paul says, live by the Spirit, not by the flesh? Because the Spirit leads to life and the flesh leads to death. Okay, don't read your heresy into the Bible. It's impossible for the Bible to have heresy. What is Paul saying? He clarifies what he's saying. To live by the Spirit does not mean we reject our bodies. To live by the Spirit means we open our bodies to the indwelling of the Spirit. Because if the Spirit of Him who raised Christ from the dead dwells in you, then that same Spirit will give life to your mortal body also. To live by the Spirit means we open our body, soul, humanity. That's what we always are. We're always a unity of body and soul until the moment of death, which is not natural and normal. That unity of body and soul is what we open to the indwelling of the Spirit, so that what we do with our humanity glorifies God. The flesh is the hinge of salvation. We believe in God who is creator of the... That was weak. We believe in God who is creator of the... We believe in the Word made in order to redeem the... We believe in the resurrection of the fulfillment of both the creation and the redemption of the... Flesh. We got to get in touch with our flesh. Behold, it is very good. Behold, it is very good. Behold, it is very good. The word good in Hebrew, T-O-V, tov, or tov, or however you say it in Hebrew, I don't know, I'm not a Hebrew scholar. But it means it's good to see. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, that's what it means. It's good to see. It's beautiful. It's good to behold. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. If you're rolling your eyes when you hear that, there's a wound. And it's okay that there's a wound because there's a healer. But I invite you, don't bury that wound. Open it up so the healer can come in. Lord, you have known me. You know me and you probe me, the psalmist says. Do you know what a probe is? It's what a doctor uses to enter the wound, to bring healing. You have known me, you know me, you probe me. Let the Lord probe you. He will not probe you without your consent. Lord, you know me. You know me, Lord. Go ahead, probe me. Probe me. Now, probe can sound like a little... No, it's loving tenderness. Let me in your wound. Let me in your wound. In fact, he'll go first. Could we get the Caravaggio image up here, please, Bill? Jesus will go first. He lets us in his wound. He lets us in his wound. Plug in here. Where are your wounds? Plug them all in right here. Because this is where all wounds get healed. In his wounds. Now notice, you know the scene here from the Gospels. This is the resurrected Christ. He still has his wounds. But now they shine with glory and healing power for us. How'd they recognize him? They recognized him by his wounds. Pope Benedict says it's kind of curious that throughout history we've called him Doubting Thomas. Because what happened right here? He believed. How did he come to believe? By the wounds. And we should all, this is not a, we think of this as some kind of, I'm not going to doubt like Thomas. No. Go ahead and doubt like Thomas. Go ahead and doubt like Thomas. Because it'll make you a believer if you say, Jesus, I need to see your wounds. It'll make you a believer. Jesus loves to show us his wounds. And guess how? The number one way he shows us his wounds, guess what that is? By showing us our wounds. Because guess whose wounds your wounds are? His. Guess whose wounds you're rejecting when you reject your wounds? His. This is how one we are with Jesus. Your wounds are His wounds. His wounds are your wounds. Don't reject your wounds. You're rejecting Jesus' wounds. Don't reject the wounds of the person sitting next to you. Those are Jesus' wounds. Don't reject the wounds of your wife or your husband or your son or your daughter or your next door neighbor or your boss at work. Those are Jesus' wounds. And I know they drive you crazy. I know they hurt you. Those wounds that are caused to you by other people's wounds. Maybe Jesus allows that to unite you more deeply with His wounds. Because the more united you are with His wounds, the more your wounds become sources of healing for other people's wounds. Be not afraid, be not afraid, be not afraid.